How is social media touching and changing the world? How different is digital media to social media? Are social networks doing more harm than good? How vulnerable and exposed are users to cyber crimes? What time is it? It's question time. Hello and welcome to the show. My name is Mpho, Tsedu. Social media is arguably one of the milestone inventions of the 21st century. The use of social media has indeed permeated every unit of society, and it is by no means a surprise that it also continues to play a pivotal role within the political sphere across the globe. In 2008, United States President Barack Obama made history by becoming the first presidential candidate to effectively use social media as a major campaign strategy. But what are the advantages and disadvantages of social media? Before we can discuss the issue, let's take a look at this short insert.
Social media is fast becoming the main means of communication. Social networks strongly impact people's lives. It has made it so that people no longer have to be social in real life and instead just hide behind their online profiles. Ever since social networking became a big hit, it has drastically changed human interaction. Society has put an emphasis on being online and updating a social persona to the detriment of real-life relationships. The general public can instantly get access to celebrities' lives, which gives them leeway to comment on their lives and pass judgment. The social media platform allowed people to form an opinion and choose sides in the case of late Senzo Meyiwa. The day following his death, the Twitter world had created camps, pitting his wife against his girlfriend. Highly opinionated comments were made about how the two women should deal with this tragedy. Some even dictated who had the right to attend the funeral and how each woman should grieve. This is what some of the Question Time viewers had to say about the advantages and disadvantages of social media.
It's very much beneficial because you get informed in so much, but the thing is you need to be able to manage your time because it can be time consuming.
Social media is good because of the way you can really get informed quickly, get informations. We can see that in the Senzo case, people can help with that, but it's bad in a way that people don't take time to live their lives.
The disadvantages is people get robbed via social networks, people get killed.
We are able to communicate quick, it's fast and it's cheap. We can speak anytime. I don't have to call you, I just WhatsApp you, I just BBM you, and then we're done. We're able to talk.
My guests today are Christelle Dutoit from SABC Digital News and Liron Segev, an online expert from Swift. Thank you and welcome to the show. Christelle, let me start with you. I'm sure a lot of people confuse what you do with social media per se.
I think the big confusion is as soon as you speak digital media,
yes,
people who are not comfortable with it, their eyes kind of glaze over. And they think suddenly this is a whole new ball game, a whole new realm, that everything has changed. And the key thing with social media, as with any news platform, be it electronic, newspaper, television, radio, is your rules stay the same. From a journalistic point of view, you still need multiple sources. You still need to verify your facts. You still need to get your facts right before getting them out there first. And the focus needs to always be on the news. People tend to think, oh, here's funny technological terms.
Yes.
And a big part of what my job is to make that understandable and to show that your news rules need to stay the same. If anything, within the realm of social media, the journalist role becomes more important because anyone in Garankua or Hammanskraal can break a story.
Yes.
Your role then becomes to verify it first of all, but then to contextualize it. Chances are you're not going to break many stories anymore. Someone else out there has access to it firsthand and now has a platform to break it. Your role becomes value add and your role becomes contextualization.
So do you only follow up stories that are breaking on social media, for instance?
Absolutely not. I think you need to use social media as a tool like you would use anything. So the power of it is there's so much information out there. There are so many story leads that you can get out there and you can use it as a source for that, but being wary of trolls and people who put false information out and things like that.
Okay.
But a powerful tool in the news context is that you can engage with people.
Yes.
In the past, people would have to write a letter to have their opinion heard in a newspaper. Now you can put out a question in real time, get people's opinions, get that up on your website, and your role again becomes filtering the noise that is out on social media.
Lauren, you seem to be nodding.
Yes, I mean, with social media, we all have our mobile phones. And what tends to happen is everyone's a reporter.
Yeah.
And everybody thinks they've got the same power as a traditional institution that does their research and their facts. You know, people arrive on a scene and the first thing they do, they snap a photo and then immediately they have an opinion about something that has just happened.
Yes.
And their friends go, oh, that must be true because so-and-so said so, and they retweet that, and they like that, and they share it. And then their friends in turn do the same. Go, oh, well, he said so, therefore it must be true. We've got to be very, very wary of that because we've seen lots and lots and lots of times where the story isn't what it appeared to be initially.
Yes.
And it immediately sways public opinion,
Yes.
but like wildfire. Whereas in the past, as we were saying, is that you would have to write in, you would have to meet with a source, you would have to discuss it, you would have to investigate it,
Yes.
you would have to look into it. Right now, 3 Google searches later, and now you think you own it. It doesn't really work like that anymore.
What are the advantages and perhaps the disadvantages of social media?
Social media is the fact that it's social. So if we're looking from a purely a marketing commercial point of view for a second, you know, if I say, hey, this is a really cool device, I've just bought it and I really like it,
Yes.
that pays a lot of value compared to the marketing gumph that the official company will obviously put out, because it's a friend. And if a friend's not going to give you bad advice, they're going to say, hey, this is what you should be looking at. So it's a great advantage from that point of view. And the fact is, we always forget the word social, because that's what effectively it is. It's me and my friends doing something.
Yeah.
Those same conversations are happening around the braai on a Sunday. It's just now been taken to an online version.
Okay.
The downside of that is, of course, is if you say something negative, it's very easy to have something called mob mentality. Everybody climbs in because you're very safe. You're behind a computer. You're behind your mobile phone or a tablet. You're not out there in the street actually putting yourself out there. You're pressing a button.
Okay, we're going to talk about social networks doing more harm than good only after the break. This is question time. Please don't go away.
On the morning of the 21st of February 1917, their ship was rammed by a liner. Legend has it that as the Mendi was going down, members of the 5th Battalion danced barefoot aboard the vessel. 616 died that day, most of them black.
After the rapid food security assessment that was done together with WFP and FAO, we found that this is one of the heavily impacted areas because of Ebola.
Over 300 bikers from across the province making a difference in the fight against blood-related cancer.
I'm here in support of cancer, and my sister has cancer, so I'm riding for cancer.
Catch all news locally and internationally. Tune into SABC, your #1 news channel. News at 8 from Monday to Sunday.
Welcome back. You're still watching Question Time. My guest today, Christelle Dutoy from SABC Digital News. And Leron Segev is an online expert from Swift. Now, I'll tell you the truth, Leron. I was very skeptical to get a Twitter account because I thought it wasn't going to be to my good at all. So I only got one yesterday. So, am I behind?
Not at all. Why do you need a Twitter account? See, that's the mistake I think that we're all making, where everybody thinks you absolutely, positively need to be everywhere.
Yeah.
You don't. The question is there a need? It's the same as everything else. You know, you're looking to buy a house. If you need one with that 17 floors with 3 swimming pools, then you can buy that. But not everybody needs that. And it's the same thing with your online profiles. If you are in an age where you say that you want to engage with a wider audience, you want to put out stories, put out information, then Twitter might be a platform for you. Kids these days aren't using Twitter. They aren't using Facebook. They've gone across to Instagram. Everyone's moving depending on where their friends are. Again, the social element of what it is. There isn't being behind. It's what is your need. And if you have a need, get onto it. If you don't have a need, then don't. But the biggest issue here is that once you're on it, you need to remember that you've got to maintain it.
Okay.
Because if you're there, make sure if somebody asks you a question, you want to reply.
Okay. Well, my Twitter handle is @Mpho Tsedu, so you must follow me.
For sure.
Okay, Leron, @Mpho Tsedu. So, Christelle, do you want me to have a Twitter account in order for you to communicate with me or in order for me to know what you are telling the world?
I think it comes back to what he's saying in terms of why are you there. What you need to remember when you were speaking about managing different social media platforms, they have different needs. You know, Twitter is short little bursts of information where you can say, today we have Christelle or whomever on our show, tune in now. Facebook, you need a little bit more value add, you need a little bit more engagement. You're going to have more comments on that. It's a bit more long lasting than Twitter is, which just just flies past you. So from the SABC perspective, yes, we would want you to be on there because you have a unique voice, and you would then form part of the SABC's Twitter and Facebook presence. We have systems, technical systems, for example, where if you do certain things on Twitter, we retweet you and we extend your reach. So it can be a very symbiotic relationship.
But at what point are the views that I express on Twitter mine? And where do you then say, Mpho is an SABC employee, he can't say that?
It comes back to the same tenet that the rules don't change. If you as a TV reporter or as a radio reporter or as a newspaper reporter go out and say something completely inflammatory, you can turn around and say, I said that in my personal capacity, but it still reflects on your company due to your profile. It's exactly the same. You can have a disclaimer on your Twitter account saying this is my personal view. Journalists have had, or individuals have had disciplinary action taken on social media actions purely because the rules stay the same. You're not suddenly in this free-for-all space. If anything, people can track you better. You know, even if you remove a post, people can take a screen grab and you can't deny having sent it. It remains the same as with any other employer-employee situation where in your employment contract it will say if you do something that brings this company into disrepute, there are actions we can take.
Somebody lost his job, very senior position, because of something he had said on Facebook, the other one because of something he had said on Twitter. So it's very risky.
Completely. And just by having a disclaimer that says the views are my own, that doesn't protect you all of a sudden. You're still part of your company. And what the legal team will do is they'll go back into your history, and your history is all there. Even if you remove things, it's all there. And they'll go back, and if you have one message saying, hi, I'm at my company picnic from 5 years ago, you associated yourself with your company, and instantly you're now part of that big firm.
But I would have used the same account to say, today I'm hosting Leron and Christelle, right? And then, next thing you know, I'm saying these are my personal views. Somehow I'm linking the two. I'm linking my job with my personal life.
You are your personal life, but you are your work life as well. So on Facebook, you know, there's a couple of social medias, I have a view that my Facebook is for me and my family.
Yeah.
So I don't accept any work friend request because I want to keep the two lives separate.
Yeah.
On Twitter, I acknowledge that it's public. I acknowledge that it's my name, it's my brand, it's my reputation. Every time someone goes to @Liron_Segev, they know it's going to have all my views about lots of stuff. But I know that going in. When I want to do completely work-related items, I will go to my LinkedIn profile because I use that for work. So I segment the two. Facebook is when I want to say, hey, chilling at the beach today, bunking work. I didn't just say that.
Yeah.
But you can do that. But you're not going to say that somewhere else more publicly because now you've associated yourself with that information.
But why do you call them friends when you don't even know them?
See, and the famous line is, we have so many friends and yet we are lonely.
Yeah, because somebody
Absolutely.
would be saying, I've got 35,000 friends. I mean, practically that's impossible.
For sure. The community has grown so big that it used to be your school friends. Then you got out of school was your university friends, and it used to be your friends in your neighborhood, and those were your community geographically located. Nowadays, your friends, in inverted commas, could be from any part of the world. There are those who've got one mission, to make as many friends as possible, because they think it's a matrix of how popular they are.
Christelle, who do you talk to? Who is your target market?
When it comes to news, you still have a slightly older target market than you would with, for example, purely an entertainment site. So we are in a unique market in terms of we want to engage younger people, but our definition of younger is not the same as it would be for Mixit or that kind of platform. At the same time, we want to reach an older generation, older, a relative term meaning 40, 50 plus, which has very strong views, that has more experience, that know more about the world. But some of them aren't that comfortable with technology, which is why as the SABC News, for example, and I think with any news online platform, you need to build on your strengths. We've got the strengths of radio that reaches millions of people every day. We've got the strengths of television, which reaches thousands of people every day. So offer the television and radio content online, offer your online content on television and radio, and it no longer becomes a case of here's the big bad digital that's going to take over the world. You build on what you've already got and they start working together.
You've affected the sales of newspapers.
Perhaps newspapers affected the sales of newspapers by not staying relevant. I think in South Africa there will always be a space for print. I think that's the nature of our culture. But it has become a lot more competitive. You've seen major print media houses embrace the digital space very successfully though. And it comes back to how do you leverage the two against each other. I think it's the same as in manufacturing when you bring in industrialization. The one is not going to be at the complete expense of the others, but it requires a mind shift from the big bosses, and it has to come from the top.
How prone is digital media to abuse? Only after the break. This question time. Please don't go away.
The session musicians, you want a particular sound on your record. Who do you get? Abo Butemp, Abo Victor Masond, Abo Godfrey Mqina. So these are the people who play a very, very vital role in making us.
The South African Horror Fest is the only inclusive event of its kind over Halloween season. It screens a host of exciting horror or thriller movies from around the world.
Shishani achieved stardom when she won a live music competition in Namibia titled Last Band Standing in 2012.
Join Musam Khalipi on Afro Showbiz every Saturday at 19:30 CAT. Zoom into Africa. This is Gabon. The president is Mr. Ali Ben Bongo. Gabon got independent from France on August 17 in 1960. The population is over 1 million people. One of the major languages spoken is French. Monetary unit is CFA.
Welcome back. You're still watching Question Time. My guest today, Christel from SABC Digital News, and Liron Segov, an online expert from Swift. Now, Liron, we recently had quite a huge hoo-ha, if one may use the word, around the death of one of the most celebrated goalkeeper for our national team and Orlando Pirates. But there was so much that was being said. What did you make of that entire program or process?
Well, for me, it shows power to the people. Everybody has got a right to express themselves, and they did. And some were positive, some were negative, some were hurtful, some were insensitive. But you have a right to express that. And as long as you're doing it within a certain kind of legal foundation or boundaries, then you should have that right to go and express yourself. The catch with this is that, again, there's no discomfort to you. You're sitting in your coffee shop, be able to say whatever you want. Whereas in the past, you used to have to go up and get to a stadium and protest and show your disapproval or your approval. Nowadays, by quick 2 taps of the phone and your opinion's out there, and you can't take it back.
Now, Christel, would you rather have a journalist go and do a story about a funeral of that magnitude, or would you rather do a story about what is trending about that funeral?
It can't be either or anymore. It can't. There's an interesting debate when it comes to journalism where there was a thinking first in terms of you do only your medium.
Yes.
Then there was a thinking of we have to do digital and it becomes this add-on. And the third wave of thinking was you have to do able to do everything. Whereas the next wave is yes, you have to have some skills in all areas, including social media, but you still need to be specialized in your area. You still need to know what you're talking about, be it radio, be it print. So I would like to send out a journalist who knows what their mandate is, what they have to deliver on for various platforms, but they can still talk about the trending topics and bring that. It's part of the story. It's not the only story or the complete story.
Just give me a view about social media and what happened during the Oscar Pistorius trial. Were you happy with the digital side of news?
Oscar was the biggest phenomenon in social media in South Africa ever, even bigger than Nelson Mandela, purely because of the time span over which it played out. It's again a reflection of our society. It comes back to the social element that it's a lot easier to have your voice heard, but we do tend to be a sensationalist society, a tabloid-ish society where, you know, gore and guts and detail and the fall of a hero intrigues us. It's a very powerful tool, but it is what you make of it. What people always need to keep in mind is it's always traceable. What you put out there, you can't take back. There are clever people who know ways to find it, and they can find it. From a journalistic point of view, it gives you a lot more opportunities, it gives you a lot more views. But your tool, your value add then becomes to filter that. And there are editorial ways to do it in terms of asking your who, what, why, when, where, and how. And there are technological ways where you can get technology to help you filter some of the tweets. But social media reflects where we are as a society at the end of the day.
Cyber criminals also take advantage of the good thing, which is technology.
Absolutely. You know, it's never been easier for them. You know, when we send out pictures from a mobile phone saying, hey, look at us, this is where we are, if you haven't switched off a specific feature on your phone, it will actually put your GPS coordinates onto that photo, unbeknownst to you. And they specialize in pulling that information off very quickly. By following you for a couple of days, I can know where your kids go to school, I can know what your routes to work is, I know who you're having a meeting with. Because we're very quick to say, hey, having a chilled lunch with so-and-so at this restaurant, atmosphere is great. But now you just told me where your location is. And we we mistakenly send a picture of our number plate of our car. So very, very quickly, I know exactly where you are, what you're doing and what you're up to. Now, if I phone you and I say, sorry, this is so-and-so from that restaurant you were at yesterday, you left your credit card here, please just give me your last numbers just to verify that it's you, you're more likely to talk to me because, yes, you were at that restaurant, yes, you did use your credit card, now we can have a conversation. So social media is exposing all that information to build a profile. And as soon as I've got a profile, I've got a hook into you.
Two questions, or rather one question to both of you. During the festive season, is there a higher number of users? Do you talk to a lot of people during festive season, or do you get a slump? What are the reasons? Let me start with you.
So social, again, we want to be social. We want to tell everyone where we are, what we're up to. So you'll know it yourself. If you, in the past, the only way to communicate was to saying Happy New Year to everyone or Merry Christmas was via an SMS. And we all knew that message was not going to go through during those busy times because the networks were just so full. We're going to experience the same thing, but this time it's going to be with a WhatsApp, it's going to be with a BBM, it's going to be with a tweet and Instagram, and absolutely the numbers just climb and climb and climb.
On your side, Crystal?
From a news perspective, the festive season is often what they call silly season because news is so dry. So there is still a lot of, happy and all the soft sentiments, but it does give us a little bit of an opportunity to go through that and see, but actually someone is having a really bad Christmas here because there's no service delivery, and you can then track stories in that way. So it gives you an opportunity. At the same time, it's not going to be the big answer to the silly season. You still have to do hard journalistic slog.
Okay, and well, this coming festive season, can we expect some news? Those of us who are news junkies, do you disappoint us?
What's really nice about digital media is the amount of value add you can do, such as bringing in timelines, bringing in visualizations. So even if you're quiet, that's actually a nice thing in terms of you can go back on Oscar and you can say, here are the highlights of the trial in short little snippets that don't eat up all your bandwidth. You can do visualizations. So we'll definitely keep you engaged.
What's your Twitter account?
I'm at Right Christelle, as in to right. And I use Twitter mostly to monitor other people. So I actually have a smaller following than you, I think. And it speaks to my need and why I am on Twitter.
Okay. Leron?
Yes. It's at LIRON_SEGEV. And we speak about lots of stuff, cool gadgets, technology that's happening around the world. Cool stuff.
Well, you can also follow me.
We certainly will.
Okay. At Mpho Tsedu or at Question Time 24. That was all the time we had for the show. It was question time for today. A big thank you to my guest and to you for watching the show. We welcome your feedback via email questiontime@sabc.co.za, our Twitter handle @SABC24. From me and the crew, have yourself a wonderful time. Goodbye.